start crying. Hi, actors! See human beings that have such incredible craft. I'm so excited to talk to them. Another coven. Okay. Jeff Goldblum, ladies and gentlemen. Marissa, Bode. Bowen, Yeoh. And Ariana Grande. And Cynthia Erivo. Come into coven. Season of the Witch.
Hello.
Darlings. I want to start with, as theater nerds, I'm sure there's a lot of us in here. If anyone wants to talk about the experience of first seeing Wicked on stage, if anybody has a story or a memory.
About what?
About first seeing Wicked.
On stage.
About seeing, no,
About
first
seeing
seeing
Wicked
Wicked on stage.
on Broadway. Seeing Wicked on Broadway.
Seeing it on Broadway.
If
Oh,
anybody
yes.
has any memories.
I do, but should I go first?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it was very, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I heard about this hot ticket 20 years ago. Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth were in it. I went. When I saw that they had painted the lobby with, Wizard of Oz story thing, I'm going, oh, this is about that? Uh-oh. Because I was already mushy, all mushed up. And then, anyway, by the end of the show, I was in a medical emergency, emotional, psychic state of, I was wailing embarrassingly and blubbering out. I didn't know they were going to be best friends. It just killed me. And then I knew them a little bit, and I went and saw Kristen afterwards, met Idina. It was fantastic. And it's lived with me these couple of decades, as it has this group. We've been religiously, fervently in love with it and devoted to it. Yeah.
Cynthia.
Cynthia, yes.
Your transformation, both physically and obviously emotionally, but also tonally, is so quiet and subtle that all of a sudden, when you see your fingers grab that broom, you get goosebumps because you then realize how carefully you constructed her up to that point. I'm wondering if you want to talk about the process, just the process of getting there.
Thank you for asking.
Oh.
I when I got the role, I knew that I wanted to make sure that she sort of started in a place of joy. Because you can't get to the end without the peaks and troughs that she has to vacillate and navigate. And I knew that if you start her somewhere that's hopeful and joyful, whenever the rug is pulled out from underneath her, it takes one step away from where she is, and so it moves her closer to where you end up at the end. So I was trying to use each song as like an emotional train to get to the next spot, and whenever she would believe in something, because what happens to her, she believes, and then that belief is taken away, and then she has to make a decision, and then she believes something, and that belief is taken away, and she has to believe until she's on her own. So she starts out with Madame Marble, and then that person lets her down, and then what is she to do at that point? And then she believes at some point that the gift that she gets from Glinda is a gift, a real gift, and that gets taken away. So she has to then redefine what that thing is, and that's when the relationship opens up. And then she believes that the wizard is going to grant her a wish, and when she gets there, that shifts and changes until she has to figure it out for herself, that she is the one that has to save herself. The tools that she is using to, I guess, steadily construct her life keep getting taken from her. But if you already start her in a place of hopelessness and sadness, you can't get to define gravity. And so what I try to do also is just shift the voice tonally as she goes along. So when you hear her the first time, it's really childlike.
Yes.
Did that really just happen? I actually understood flat, easy, fun, playful. But as you as you move through and that's when she starts to discover that she can want, and she gets longing and then becomes more aspirate, airy. Hands touch, eyes meet, sun's high. It's there until you get to the end where it becomes like really round and then really raw. Something has changed within you. Rounder. And by the end it's like a roar. You can't have that at the beginning. She has to earn it. She has to find her way to making that sound. And you can't get there without losing some of the hope and the innocence that she has at the beginning and gaining a little bit of growth towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a metaphor for growing up, like losing childhood. And both of you can see you grow up in this film. Like you actually watch it. It's like a magic trick. Like you're in the spell of watching you guys both grow up. Ariana.
I love you.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Dear diary. You as Glinda and also as a performer are so generous. It's a beautiful thing, I'm sure, as an audience member to watch that open just giving to your scene partner and to the audience and to your cast. It's like an incredible thing to watch. And it's also pretty incredible that you are imbibing both comedy and pathos all the time, like through everything, through even like her most joyful songs. So I'm just wondering how you got to there, if that was conscious, if that was, looking in the eyeballs of this human.
Absolutely. I think that's one of my favorite things about her is that both are constantly present. They have to be. In order for the comedy to feel honest, there has to be a person underneath the surface who has insecurities and traumas and, trying to think about where did that desperate need for external validation, for popularity, why is that so important to her? It kind of has to come from a real place. In order for the comedy to land, it has to be honest. And then in her painful moments, she has to kind of still find the light, That's her magic, I think, is being able to transmute darkness and bring levity. And I don't know, I think just kind of finding little ways to make sure that both are present the entire time. This way the jokes could play, and then a real person with a human heartbeat could still be there. That was some of my favorite work, was to find that balance, yeah.
Yes.
Can I say something? And I haven't said this at all, and I realize I haven't said it, but it's really, really very, very true. It's so fucking fun to work with this person. It's so fun. It's so much fun, and it's so easy. So, I realize I haven't said it. It's really fun to work with you, and I loved every second of it.
Me too. It was the best, the privilege of my life.
She's a fucking genius. I just want to say that.
It's fun.
Really, I mean, it's all about our scene partners as actors, right? You can't do it in a vacuum. In a vacuum? Marissa. It's such a pleasure meeting you. You are so perfect in this movie. I want to ask about the choreography and how long you guys rehearsed for the choreography and how much maybe input that you had and just the demands of it as a performer.
Totally. We rehearsed a little over a month, I want to say. That was one of the first things I really worked on when landing in London. And I had never danced that much in my life, and it was some of the most fun I've ever had. And I really want to take the skills and what I learned dancing with me post-Wicked also. And it was, the whole dance itself was a communication. And I think when working with Krista and Emilio and Hannah Rayner, who was the incredible wheelchair choreographer, I think that helped a ton because, especially with Hannah, because her being in a wheelchair helped a lot, and her disability is a little bit different from mine, but we were able to communicate with one another, like what works better for my body that doesn't work for her body, or she would start out and do something like, wait, but that doesn't necessarily, my body works and moves a little bit differently, and making those adjustments while also staying true to the characters and getting across the communication and what we were trying to say as Nessa and as Bach, and just having fun in our youth at this dance. And this is really like the first time Nessa's had that experience with a boy before, and really getting that across and really showing her love and the change within her within just a few moments of that scene. And it was almost hard to say goodbye after we were done filming that because we had worked on it for so long, and it was such a crucial part to her character as well. But I loved every part of it.
Yeah, you're what my mom would call an open-faced sandwich. Your face is so open in this movie and so just beautiful.
Thank you.
Bowen,
Hi.
I did your podcast and it was one of my most
so
favorite.
fun.
You've spoken a lot about how much you have loved this experience, and the love that you felt while making this movie. What are some positive takeaways as an actor that you wish other productions would make, that you wish for anything else that you do in your future in front of the camera? Easy.
Wow. The question is, what are my takeaways from this production?
Yeah, that you would love, that as an actor, that maybe you would love other productions to perhaps do more of.
Okay, great question, because I came into this thinking, I'm so out of my depth with every single aspect of this, and yet, what I did not expect was every single department treating every single person on that set with, such care, for lack of a better word. I know it's such a meh word, care, sure, whatever, but care. It was we were being handled in this way that was individual to us, that was really, really, really setting us up for success in our own specific ways. I would go to John and Drew every single day after every single take or whatever and be like, so that thing you made me ad-lib and improvise makes no sense in this world. Why would you have her, please don't use this in the film. And then huge prank, every single, almost every line I say is kind of impressive. I don't wear that as a badge of honor, but but then afterwards, Dana Fox and Winnie Holtzman approached me and they were like, yes, give it up for Dana Fox and Winnie Holtzman. They were just you did something very specific and important to this film, even though you might feel like it's trivial, because this is such an emotionally earnest, beautiful film. It ends on this huge flourish of, we're all the whole pipeline of emotions is opened up, right? Like it needs something, it needs not only levity but stupidity, and like what you're doing, and like it's so important to understand. No, and that's the biggest compliment to me. I love stupidity. You know what I mean? So yeah. I what I wish that other productions would sort of like extrapolate from this going forward for me is just that it's that everything gets the attention to detail. Like nothing gets missed. Truly nothing gets missed. And we're all very privileged as actors to like sort of carry that and be the vessel or whatever.
Yeah, it's like if this was a little chamber orchestra, you each played your notes so perfectly. You're like perfect sound coming in exactly when it was perfect timing. Ethan. It has been, everybody knows now that everybody sang live during filming of this film, which is take after take. I cannot imagine it. Can you elaborate on that experience, how that was for you, and what tools you used from Broadway, from your amazing career on Broadway? What did you bring to this movie?
Oh, yeah. Well, singing live was really exciting as an actor for a lot of reasons, which I'll come to after the second thing that was exciting for, which is as an observer, because we got to see everybody sing just beautifully and emotionally and connected and grounded to the thing, and there was nothing artificial about it, right? It was like really, and so I know John has said this a bunch, but it just felt like having a front row seat to the best concert you could possibly ask for. Or just like being immersed in the Broadway show in a really special way. But then as a performer, and I've heard you two talk about this a lot too, but I think being able to sing live allows you the freedom to make mistakes that are coming from character and to actually like be in the moment and not be hyperanalyzing the sound the way that you do in the studio, but just be trying to be connected to the moment and also being able to be there for your scene partner. And so, Bach only has so many moments of singing in this movie. But in each moment, you really wanted to be truthful and connected and make the most of that moment, and especially these moments with Nessa. It was really special to be able to be singing in each other's faces and to respond in that way. It's totally different than Broadway, and yet it's the same. I mean, you need to have stamina. On Broadway, you need to have the stamina to do 2.5 hours of singing, 8 shows a week. It's running a marathon. For a role like Bach in Wicked, you have to have the stamina to do however many takes you need to do in a row and still have it at the end of the day, because it needs to be that good at the end, just the way that your performance needs to be good. So I think that I felt confident in my ability, because of the Broadway stamina, to bring that on a day when I might have woken up at 4 a.m. to get in the chair by 4:45, and the daunting task of doing it was made a little less daunting because of my experience on Broadway. But I don't know, nobody seemed daunted by it ever, and that also was really helpful. Like, to know that everybody is just gonna catch you if you fall. Your scene partners are there to catch you if you fall. It makes everything easy.
The modulation of your voice. To work within the scale of making a film, it felt, you really did feel like those songs were conversations and scenes, which were, I can only imagine how that's so difficult, because that is also a magic trick. Jeff. When I saw this amazing film for the first time, my husband and I turned to each other and were like, not at the same time, but we turned to each other and said, that is the part that Jeff Goldblum was born to play. Like, you're so incredible as the Wizard of Oz. You're just magic. You're such a gorgeous showman in all ways, and so, there's been so many Wizards of Oz's. How did you approach this particular wizard in your own magical way?
You're so sweet. Let's see. Well, it's a group effort. It's a group effort. The ensemble gives you everything. I've said it before, but my teacher, I was lucky to study with Sanford Meisner when I was 17 before I turned 18. And one of his, I'll bet one of his cornerstones of his foundational approach and technique is, hey, what you do doesn't depend on you. It depends on what the other person in the scene or people in the scene make you do. So that spirit, as you know, of interdependence. I've been lucky, with Robert Altman in Nashville to have a kind of a group, even if you're in a movie with one or two other people, it's an ensemble, but I've been in real ensembles like that, and The Big Chill, and Wes Anderson's Life Chronicle, Steve Zissou, and Grand Budapest Hotel, but never as special an ensemble as this one. Because there have been, this is the most special experience of my life. There have been great actors before, but Cynthia and Ariana and Jonathan Bailey and everybody, but all of you cannot achieve, reach the heights of acting mastery that have taken them a lifetime of work and devotion, and the incredible gifts mysteriously that they have within them. And to achieve that mastery is just unbelievable. And of course, it brings, and that's what I'm talking about, that brings things out in you that you couldn't have expected. And then, these artists, to be able to sing, and I'm a humble student of and lover of music, to be able to achieve musically what they do while giving nuanced, complicated, the height of acting is an achievement. It's out of this world. It's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle. And so this is the best group. And speaking of, that original show, I've been in movies where they go, where the team says, hey, we like this, we're enthusiastic about the script. But never have I had a group, involved in a group of people who for 20 years, like me, have been so passionately in love with this material. And so that guided us and glued us together. And then the special, and so that and their gifts, but the special relationship that those two had with each other over the course of a couple of years of making this thing, and the kindness and real thing that they intended and forged with each other was infectious and trickled down to us. Oh my gosh, the kindness and that. Well, what can I say? That's something. And I try to do my part, bring the light and the shadow of it, and the corruption of it, and all that. But, like we all do, you point your fingers at human beings from the beginning of time, as depicted in 2001, till the current landscape, politically and culturally, and you go, oh, maybe that person is somebody I kind of don't like. Maybe that's kind of what I get. But as my third grade teacher said, 3 fingers are always pointing back at you. So, what way am I a clown and a con man and a liar and a bully and have been corrupted by this and that? Those are good questions, life-enhancing and creatively nourishing. That's all I'll say tonight.
I think I want to wrap this up in the eye of the tornado that touched. I'm ready to do it again. Your relationship. As I think everybody has touched on, I think about those notes between you in that last song and seeing the image of you and seeing you look at her, and I want to burst into tears. It's like the craft, the listening, the production, design, the directing, like everything has to swirl to actually hit that in the center every single time you watch it. I wonder with that last song, Defying Gravity, of this first chapter of Wicked, first started working together, did you get to sing that together or perform it?
Actually, that was towards the end. No,
Yeah,
towards the
late.
end. That was late.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh.
we had filmed, which was actually really helpful for us because we had lived with these characters for a long time at this point together, and we had been through all of the emotional cruxes together. We had been through the ups and downs as our characters, and we'd gotten to know each other as Cynthia and Ari together, so that when we got to that final moment, which really actually was towards the end, if not the end, well, it was like one of our last days, I think.
It was kind of divided in
Yeah.
chunks, but yeah,
But
the
the
very ending was the very end.
very end,
Yeah.
yeah, that was like our last moment together on set. Whoa.
Mhm. It was the shot where my last shot was when you fly over my head and
That's
I
right.
look up at you.
Yeah.
That was my last shot in both films.
Mhm.
But you know, we both did our homework quietly, separately. You know what I mean? We both found our own ways to learn these women and become them and sort of really dive in. And then by the time we got to set, they were just there for us.
Ready, yeah.
So we could just listen to each other and respond. You know, there was never a time when we were singing at one another. We were listening and hearing and singing together. It was just the most beautiful cosmic thing. It was very strange. It just happened, you know?
I love the scene that we have in the attic where she goes to grab the cape, the sheet that becomes the cape. We didn't rehearse that. So John said, "Go find something to put on. Go find it's that. Find it. Find a way to it." She gets it. I'm watching, and she shakes it on the way. That's all her. And I've said this before, but I really love it because it was just like one extra moment of just how can I care for her. I'm gonna make sure that if I'm gonna put this sheet on her, this cape on her, this thing to keep her warm, it'll be clean, it'll be tidy. So she takes it out and just puts it on me.
It was her way of saying, I love you and I accept this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say goodbye in this moment, but I love you and I don't agree,
Yeah.
but I love you unconditionally, so I support this.
Yeah.
I can't go,
Yeah.
and I can't say goodbye either.
And neither of us could say goodbye. We
Right.
didn't have any words.
So I gave you a cape.
Yeah.
You winked at me.
And I winked at her because John had said, just tell her it's okay. Let her know that it's okay, and let her know that you'll be okay as well. And the only thing that came to my mind is to smile and wink. It's gonna be okay, you know. And that sort of wonderful wordless dance that we get to do again
After the
Oscars is the culmination of who they become as friends, and we just sort of find our way in that space because we had the time to really get to know and learn each other. It's one of my favourite moments to watch. I could watch that over and over again just because I love how we communicate in that. But neither one of us knew that was what was going to happen that day. It just sort of happened. Yeah.
I guess I would say lastly that I love a coven. I love a coven.
I do.
And this is certainly a coven. And I was wondering if anyone, maybe you two or anyone, would have any advice to the coven that is this room today, of all of our fellow actors. Anything you would like to say as witches to witches?
We have different ways of saying the same thing.
The right thing
The right-
will never pass you by.
Correct. All the no's are simply simply making room for the yeses.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes we don't know that when we often go into a room and we think that these people they don't want to give me the role, they're rooting for you. Believe that every room that you go into, they are rooting for you. So just be the best you can be. Whoever you are, let the person you are shine through, because at some point you'll be right for whoever is watching, right? The world is not against you. there's more yeses for you out there than you realize. You just have to be open to them.
I'm gonna be just pinching myself the entire way home. I know with all of you guys that this is so special. This is like a really special evening to be able to be here with all of you guys. Is there any last words? Jen?
We love you. And I'll see you on the set also. Well, let's work together soon.
We love you so much. Thank you.
Oh my God.